Hey guys, welcome to the video. I'm Braden, and in today's video we will be installing the Draco Centre Diff Set 2024 into the HPI Savage Flux HP with extended TVPs. So if you have the Savage Flux HP, you can also do this process. The only difference is the length from here to here. Okay, it's a little longer for the XL version. Okay, so the idea here is to replace this section of the vehicle with this. So we will remove three items: the ESC mount, the motor mount plate, and the center transmission. The stock radio box and battery boxes can remain where they are, as we can just install around them. Okay, so let's get started with disassembly. Okay, so first we are going to remove all the screws that attach this TVP to the vehicle. So that means these two and then two at the front, the radio box screws here, these screws, also the screws down here holding the transmission, and the ESC one. Okay, so I will go ahead and remove those. Okay, so I've removed all the screws that hold the TVP, this left TVP to the vehicle, and now we can remove it. So I've also gone ahead and removed the screws on the right side, so we can remove the handle, because this will just get in the way. And then we can, alright, I forgot one. Just one more here to remove the ESC from the TVPs. Okay, here we go. Now we can take the TVP off with the the battery box attached, put that aside, and we've exposed the vehicle. So we can remove this whole section here as one, so you can leave the ESC mount attached. And also the beauty of the Draco Centre Diff Set is you can just reuse your stock center dog bones, front and rear. If you have an XL, if you have a Flux HP, you can also reuse the rear dog bone. Okay, so go ahead and remove the screws holding the motor mount, the remaining two screws holding the center transmission, and then we can pull this whole section out. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I've gone ahead and removed those screws, and now the whole assembly is free from the TVPs. So you can just pull out and the dog bones will just fall down. So we can reuse those when we install. Alright, so the whole section is removed. We don't need this anymore. Okay, so when I install my Draco Centre Diff Set, I always add the motor first. This makes it easier later to install. You could do it a different way if you like, but at the very least I recommend attaching the motor to the rear upper plate, because it is a little difficult to access the screws once it's installed. You can also see I've assembled it with the gear guard, so now it's one assembly, so it's much easier to handle and install and move around. So as there is bottom access, you can remove the 4 screws, take out the center diff. You could install the dog bones later, which I will do. So, or if you like, you can put the dog bones in. Now, depending on your vehicle, I would recommend checking the amount the rear dog bone moves. So sometimes I add O-rings here to keep the dog bone from moving around too much. You could do that if you wish, so depending on how much it moves. Yeah, so let's go ahead and install this on the one side. Okay, so I've got the Draco Centre Diff Set installed on the right TVP. I've got these 2 screws in here temporarily just to hold it, but I've put 2 screws in the lower section here and tighten them up. So it is a little difficult to install. I recommend just tipping it on the side, putting the nut on top of the screw, coming in from the bottom with a screwdriver, and then screwing the nut a little bit, grabbing a wrench, holding it, and then tightening it. It is a little tough, but once it's installed, you won't really need to remove it. So it'll just be once. You can now access the center diff from the bottom, so there's no need to remove the whole section. Okay, so now let's continue, and we will replace the left TVP and continue with the assembly. So this is the left TVP. I will just install this as normal. First, I will install these screws just to keep it in place. One there, and then one on the front. Okay. Just like that. Okay, oops. Just for now. Okay. And now it's installed. So I've left the ESC mount off so we can still access it if we need to, but make sure you put your nuts into it so it's easy to install once it's on. These should hold the nuts in place while you install. There's a small hex there. Okay, so leave that off, and then I'm going to install the screws on the bottom here using the nuts and screws that are included in the set. They are 3x12 button head screws on this side and this side at the lower position, and then they are 3x25mm button head screws on the top. Now if you are using the handle, the stock handle, which you can, you would need some 3x30 flathead screws, so you can go through the handle, through the TVP, and then into the ESC mount at the top. Okay, so let me pull these out at the back here. Yeah, put this in place, and then I'll put the screws through just like this. They push through, they're not threaded. Push them through, whatever that is. There we go. Same on the other side. Okay, let me install these screws and then we will continue. So now I have the screws through, and I'm going to put on the ESC mount. So let's imagine you have your ESC mounted here, and then you can put this on here, push it down, make sure the screws are out. Yeah, push it right down as far as it goes. So this is in the standard position. There are two positions to mount it. I've put it in the lowest position, so make sure the ESC mount is in the lowest position and the nuts line up with the holes. And then you put these in and you screw them up, and it will tighten both sides. Okay, so you can do that. All right, so I have the ESC mounted on the top, or ESC mount installed on the top, and we are assuming that you've done your mesh and the pinion is installed. So now let's go to the bottom and remove the 4 screws and access the center diff from the bottom. So just do that. Okay, remove it as one. Front plate, front lower plate, rear lower plate, and then take the diff out. Now we can put the drive shafts in, ready to go, and put the front dog bone in first and then the rear dog bone. Okay, all right, so if your dog bone is moving around quite a lot, you could add 1 or 2 O-rings in the cup joint side, so on the diff side here. If not, then it should be okay. All right, now let's reinstall. Put the rear lower plate in, front lower plate. Of course, make sure there's no debris here between the plates. It will not clamp correctly otherwise. like that. Put that on and then tighten. So one screw down, not too tight, one screw down, front ones, screw them in but not too tight yet. Okay, now once they're down, give them a tighten, not too tight but firm. There we go. Okay, and now we are installed. Right. Okay, so now the Draco Centre Diff Set is installed in your Savage. Just make sure your mesh is correct. Make sure everything is tight and your bottom plates are done up correctly, and you are good to go. So the set is available now, so please go to my website and pre-order. Unfortunately, things will be a little delayed at the moment. I have got some of the parts in production, meaning the gears, outdrives, and the diff cases, but the plates themselves are not yet in production due to the yen and US dollar right now. So I'm going to have to split the order in two, and so it may be a few more months until they ship. But please keep an eye on my website for any updates there. I do apologize for the inconvenience, but it's a little tough to get everything made at one time at the moment due to the exchange rate. So any more pre-orders would really help me speed this process up. So please go to my website and make your pre-order now. You can add the Draco diff case to your order if you wish, up to 3 in your order, so front, center, rear. I would definitely appreciate that. All right, well, that's it. I hope this was informative and helped you. Once again, check out my website. The link is in the description and just below here as well. Yeah, thank you for watching and see you in the next video.